So, Hare Krishna. I thank you all very much for coming in such nice numbers again. You were a wonderful group of devotees with whom we celebrated a wonderful festival. Madhavananda has given us one very nice point to take with us from the festival. He has spoken about service to the Vaishnavas as being very important. Maybe we remember the Lord is in the heart of everyone, but who's in the heart of that Lord? The devotees, no? That was a nice point. I would also like to give you something to take along, but because you have said so long, I suggest we do something to change the energy just very quickly. Please turn to your neighbor. Anyone, it could be someone you've never seen or before talked, and please quickly share with the neighbor this question: what did you like at the festival? No? What was the particular point you liked? The Matajis are already ready to go talking. No problem, Maharaj. We can talk always. And please, also the men, please do it. Don't think this is only for Matajis. No. We only have 2 minutes, so be quick. You have only 30 seconds left. Sorry. Good Krishna, can you please find this Bhagavatam 10:41:51? Hare Krishna. Cut it. Oh, Hare Krishna, please. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. So I think you all found something by the liveliness of your discussion. It was evident. I would like to tell you of an experience which I had in the festival, because I believe that this, if I share this experience as open and honest with you, that I can share with you my tip. You have something to look at. I had a terrible experience at the festival at one point. You know, I have been traveling for 3 months. It was really intense. I'm happy that Gaur Krishna is still alive. It is really, we had a lot on the plate. And so there was a time in the festival, I remember I looked out of my window, they were getting ready for the Swan Boat Festival, and I said, oh my God, always the same, each Janmastami. This is something which girls do. They take their dolls somewhere and I am confessing to you, and honestly, it's not for me. Oh, look at all these people. They're trying to be something which they are not. Look how they're dressed. They're never dressed like this, only once a year. Some of them. Oh, and yes, then I will hear lectures. I have heard, I know what they will talk. Same messages year after year, as if I have no brain to understand anything. No, I really don't know. And now I soon have to go out and say, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Give a very kirtan. What do they like? What type of kirtans? Well, it has to be wild at the end. Okay, I will crank up myself again. And as I was going down this spiral of negative thoughts, I noticed, hey, Sacinandana Swami, stop for a moment. You like kirtan, no? You like the holy name, no? You like to hear things again from a different perspective. What has happened to you? And I could see what happened to me was I had come under the influence of Maya. I was under the clouds. I was, there is a Prabhupada gave once a very nice point. He said, in Krishna consciousness, we are above the clouds. And what he had in mind was the experience of when you fly, you may be, when you are under the clouds in rain, and it's a little gloomy and uninspiring, but if you pierce through the layers of the cloud, wow, it's a whole different scenario. You see the wide open sky, unlimited. You see the sun, it's a nice blue, and you feel like, wow, this is a whole different scenario. I remember we had a preaching tour through Macedonia, and when we started with the airplane in Skopje, we had this problem in Skopje. There is a lot of exhaustion fume. The air is so bad because it cannot move anywhere in the cold winter. So it's like you almost go out and you become smeary with exhaustion, with this benzene, what comes out of the cars. And then our plane took off. It was all dirty because the air is so dirty. It made the plane dirty. And then it was going higher and higher. Then this big carpet of clouds was there, gray clouds. It went through and became lighter, and then whoop, we were above the clouds. And it looked really nice. The clouds from above looked white. There was a fresh breeze. I assumed there was a fresh breeze. I didn't feel it. I was in the airplane, but the sun was there. Yes, and I thought when I was in Golokadam, what will I do now to get above the clouds? And for me, what always works is I open the Bhagavatam. I opened it at a very interesting part where Kadama Muni he talks to the Lord in prayer, and it was very interesting and for me to see his thoughts and the Lord's response. And I thought, wow, I hope we have not started with the Swan Boat Festival. They will take Chota Radha Madan Mohan actually on a boat like the devotees do in Vrindavan. And then I thought, well, they do this in the temple, yes, but there is something much more behind it. Actually, the Krishna in the spiritual world likes to go on a boat with the gopis. Then I saw the theater play, yes, and I saw the devotees acting. They have a lot of gestures always, and I thought, wonderful! This is the best acting I've ever seen. My God, it's so expressive, it's so relevant. And then I saw the deities coming on the swan boat, and I thought, what, this is God riding on a swan boat. And I remember when we had ended our part of this swan boat festival and we went to the swing festival, I was totally enthusiastic. I thought, well, this is another pastime. It's in the middle part of the day, then when Radha and Krishna walk through the different forests of Vrindavan, and when they come to the spring forest, there is a julan and a swing, and then they swing like this, and then Madhavananda was explaining the same thing from the Bhavanasara Sangraha, a book that I'm familiar with, and I was, wow, this is all orchestrated by Krishna, and my thought and the talk match. Wonderful. I'm very enlivened. Then there was a kirtan of Amala Harinam. I thought, this is the best kirtan I've ever heard so far. I was a total different personality. And then I remembered an article I had read by the anti-sect group. They were very strong in Germany. And they said, yeah, this is what happens in new religious movements. The participants are in a roller coaster of emotions. Sometimes they feel very low, but then somehow, by some imagination, they feel very high. And then they again go very low. And I thought, I can understand why someone who has not been at the swing festival and the boat festival thinks like this. But they are wrong. It's not a question of psychology which happens here, an unstable psychology where someone changes from one to the other. It is the mercy of Krishna. And I have just felt how by the mercy of Krishna, a conditioned soul who is in Maya can raise to the level of a different type of consciousness, a more wider consciousness, a more broader consciousness, a more healthy consciousness, a more beneficial consciousness for his well-being, a more, dare I say it, real perspective than the illusory perspective which was coming about only by a weak mind. As we know now, weak thoughts send weak chemicals in the body, so that someone who has weak thoughts, he feels very exhausted, and so on. If I go to a festival and think, oh, how strenuous it is, then the festival will be intense for me, and I will feel. If I have a strong thought that now I'm meeting Krishna, I will be enthusiastic all the time. You always have to choose, will I be under the clouds or will I be above the clouds? This matter of choice is given to each individual. And if you choose, I don't want to be under the clouds, I don't want to be with my weak thoughts, which send such weak signals into my life, then your life will be wonderful. I don't think many of us have already understood this enough. Because if we would have understood this, our life would no longer be so conflicted at times. Let us say, little piece of I want to give with you to go and move on is find out how you can address this point. This point of, in our tradition, it's sometimes called anishta, unsteady. You know, find out what you can do to become more steady in your bhakti. And if you find this out, then you will be very successful. Also, my other point is, don't take the mind so serious. There is someone who made this change of perspective, which is really amazing. We have heard today one about Trilochan and his servant Antayami. In the same book, there is an amazing story of Kamati Bai. She was, this is so amazing that when I heard it yesterday from His Holiness Indradyumna Maharaj, I really thought, wow, I must tell this to the devotees as an illustration of changing the perspective. Kamati was born in the royal court of a certain clan of Kshatriyas. It was said about these warriors, they were so strong that they drank the milk of a lioness, and they would die fighting when their head was cut off. They would fight, in other words, up to the end, until the opponent cut their head off. Strong warrior lady. She was a little girl. She somehow she was the daughter of a priest, but the king took care of her as if she was her own daughter, and she worshipped Krishna when she was this small. So when she became big, not very big, just a girl in puberty, her father, together with the king, who thought this girl to be like a daughter, made arrangements for her marriage. So on the night before her marriage, she could not sleep. She always thought of Krishna and thought, I have given my heart to Krishna. I cannot marry a mortal human being. And when it was around 2 o'clock in the night, where everyone was fast asleep, Kamati Bai left the palace and went on her way to Vrindavan. So next day, the king felt, oh my God, where is Kamati Bai? She's sleeping so late. It's her day of marriage. We have arranged all ornaments. The palace looks really nice, and there's gold. I've given gold ornaments to her, and the maidservants came to his wife and had said, Kamati Bai is missing. So they searched the whole palace and could not find the marriage partner, the bride. So the king said, something is going awfully wrong here. maybe she's kidnapped by a neighboring king and his men, by some ninjas who went into the palace. There are no ninjas in Rajasthan. So he sent a huge army out to look for Kamati Bai. And Kamati Bai could see the army was coming after her. Where do I go? Where do I go? I don't want to marry a normal human being. I want to be with Krishna only. So she looked around and she found, it was early in the morning, that was a little foggy. She found something lying by the path of the road. So she ran, and it was a dead camel. And she took her knife and slit open the belly of the dead camel. I told you it's a shocking story. She took out let us use a good English word here. She disemboweled the camel. I don't want to, that you are, bowel is here, bowel movement. Everyone knows this in India. So she disemboweled the camel. She went into it and she closed the wound and stayed. So the army came looking. Where is Kamabai? Where is the person who kidnapped him? Krishna was the person. They ran by the camel. And they passed on. And after some time they were gone. Then Kamati Bai looked out and came out all dirty and stinking. She looked for a place to wash herself, and there was she needed to walk a little to a river, then came out clean. And then one sadhu came to her and said, I have watched you. Who are you? Nobody, said Kamati Bai. I'm actually nobody. No, don't worry, said the sadhu. I won't tell on you to the king. I just want to know what is going on in you. Anyone would die smelling the entrails of a dead camel. It smells so bad. Already camel stool? I don't know if you know. You can faint. But if the inside is heavy. So she said, O Sadhu Maharaj, the smell or the stench of material life is so much more horrible than the stink of what is going on in the entrails of a camel. I do not want material life. She was little, she was small, just puberty. 1-2 girls have puberty. Young. So she then went to Vrindavan, and she became one of the greatest devotees. She stayed in Brahmakund. Eventually her father found out and came to her and said, I'm totally embarrassed. We had arranged the marriage, and the day of the marriage, you disappeared. Only now I found out where you are. What can you tell your father? Please return. You can worship your deity in your home. If you don't want to marry, we don't marry you. We can't force you anywhere. You are from this clan, of the Kshatriyas. When you have something in your mind, nothing can force you another way. And she said, I'm now in Vrindavan, Father. I'm in the kingdom of God. I can only do one thing. Wait for me and come back the next day. So the father came back, and Kamati Bai gave him a deity from the mud of Yamunaji. Now, worship this deity, and you will always be with me in Vrindavan. Wow, said the father. my daughter's different. And he took the deity and became a great devotee. He would not leave his room. He was falling in love with the deity. And the king said, well, hey, what is with my main priest? He doesn't leave the room. So the king went to him and he saw his main priest. My daughter is a pure devotee. She gave me this deity. And I feel the whole material world is illusion. I don't want to counsel you as your priest and counselor any longer. So the king thought, this is an amazing daughter, and he also went to Vrindavan, and when he went and met Kamati Bai, by now she was older, in Brahmakund, he was changed so much that he built a huge temple for Kamati Bai. It came about like this. He said, what, can I do anything? I'm a worldly man. Can I do some service to you? You are such a great devotee. And Kamati Bai said, not for me, but for Krishna you can do a service. Build a nice temple here. You have money. And the king, okay. Build a huge temple, which is unfortunately only there in ruins. But we can visit these ruins, we are told by Maharaji, our Indradumla Maharaj. We can go in the Ranganath temple, and there are ruins of this temple. What do you think when you hear such a story? Nothing?
When will that happen to me?
Gaurahari thinks, when will this happen to me? Others? Thoughts?
I can understand the decision not to marry. Not to marry and only Krishna. Because one knows what happens.
Yeah, I can understand her decision. Now I'm experienced. Yes. Any other thoughts?
She was very determined.
Very determined, yes, that is clear.
She was very determined and had this desire, and Krishna fulfilled that desire. She got the blessing.
She got a blessing, yeah.
After renunciation, you get everything.
After renunciation, you get everything.
She inspired.
Sorry?
She inspired her own father.
She inspired her own father. You have also a father. He is the king of book distributors in Brazil, I hear. Yes. Yes. There are other thoughts. I recognize this. When I heard the story yesterday, after, I immediately got the book Bhaktamala. I have where I stay, Gaurahari's apartment. There are all the books available, and I read it, the story from Bhaktamala, and I was really thinking more or less on the line of Gaurahari, that I like these stories very much, but this is really a lot of determination. I mean, if I can't imagine now to run away from Gora Bhavan, a beautiful lake ashram which we have, and run to Vrindavan like that. But I will run in October, and I will stay for 2. So I thought it is very inspiring, but I thought, how do I get there? How can I change my perspective so that I take Krishna consciousness more real? And I understood I have to deal with the subject under the cloud and above the cloud. As long as I'm sometimes so heavy under the cloud, like I was in Janmastami. By the way, I'm exaggerating a little. It's not so bad, but it is bad enough that it's a point, you know. So, what to do? And I will give you 3 things that you can exercise with. 3 things that have changed my life. 3 points from the Bhagavatam, which are, by the way, repeated thrice in the Bhagavatam. We know when the sacred scriptures repeat a point, they mean it. It seems to be important. No? It is found on 3 places. I know there are some of you who like. It's found in the prayers of Parikshit Maharaj, his you can say one of his final words. Final words. Some body's also there, apparently. It is found in the prayers of Shrutadeva, who was a florist, a garland maker in Mathura, who was visited by Krishna. And even Markandeya Rishi, in the 12th canto, repeats 2 of these points as prayers to Krishna. These 3 points, my dear devotees, will lift your perspective immediately. It will act like a strong lift that brings you from under the clouds above the clouds. Would you like to know them?
Yes.
Good. This was a yes. Oh my God. I will at the end give you the references, but now I will give you the points. Shrudadev prays amazingly the same thing that Parikshit wants. If I have to be born again in this world, I want to have unshakable devotion to Lord Krishna. Unshakable. He doesn't want to be on this roller coaster of sometimes above the clouds and then again under the clouds. Unshakable. Then the second thing, Madhavananda very nicely talked on this. I'm very grateful for this lecture. Friendships with with his devotees. In the Bhagavatam it is said the devotees, 2 analogies are given for devotee sangha. One, it's a strong boat that takes you over the ocean. You don't have to sink, in other words, in samsara, like many conditioned souls who fall and rise in the waves of samsara. The devotees give you some safety. Therefore, we always know when devotees die, they want to have devotees around them as much as possible and do kirtan because they know, then I'm safe, even in this moment. No, I don't fall under the material energy. So, because it's a strong boat, and the Bhagavatam says it's also a transcendental eye. When you are with devotees and you see through the perspective of devotees, like Kamabhati, then you think, my God, let me see like she sees things. It's really not a material eye, it's a spiritual eye. And the last is transcendental compassion to all living beings. So 3 things. What was the first? Unshakable devotion to whom? Krishna. Wonderful. Then? Friendship. Yes, not difficult relationships. Therefore, my dear devotees, it is said, if you have a good relationship to Krishna, Krishna likes to have a good relationship with you. He is like this. He follows his devotees. And if you have good devotees, if you have a good thought about devotees in your heart, Krishna comes in your heart. But if you have envious thoughts on devotees, the opposite happens. Krishna leaves you. Have you seen that? No. Yes. Middle. And the last is transcendental compassion to all. I want to say something on this, which is, I think, which is my experience. I'm not talking abstract philosophy today. I'm talking of experience. My dear devotees, do something for the welfare of others. Don't remain self-centered. Don't do something. Don't hide Krishna like you would hide a crazy brother in the cellar. You know, people come to your house, and there is, you have a crazy brother, and it's time for you, and you bring him in the cellar, lock the door, that he doesn't come out and ruin the party upstairs. Don't hide Krishna. Bring him out. Do not be afraid that people will misjudge you when you preach Krishna consciousness, or give prasadam, or give them literature. The moment you are coming out of this being stunted and do something for the welfare of others, something is wonderful. I remember yesterday, Gokrishna and myself, we needed to catch up on our rounds, so we went for a walk in the forest, and I never forget this. A black cat came to us. Narayani, she came from where you are. Do you know this black cat? We have two. So maybe you recognize the cat. So she was, I don't know if it was a he or she. I called the cat Catchy. And we were walking, and the cat first checked us out if we were all right, and I said to the cat, welcome, we are, come along, it's a japa walk. And the cat came along. Go Krishna. All the way, we walked almost up to Forellenhof. That's 3 kilometers. The cat was always there, and when she went at one time, she stood there, frozen, with her tail up, and I said, I'm so disappointed with you now. We are vegetarians, and you want to eat a mice. I'm so disappointed. Just control your mind a little. And then she stopped doing her cat thing, her predator thing, and she, Tiki, she seemed to say, okay, I understand. And she followed along. She did not catch one mouse. She was, in other words, there for Sangha, not for mouse catching. And we were very pleased. We thought, when she got lost, I made, and immediately she came. I've never seen this. It was an instant communication. Then we went to the little Radhakund, we call, the old devotees call it Radhakund. This is a little, pond where there is this nice bench. And the cat was all the time with us. It was already getting late, but the cat was there and waited for us to stop, to finish our Gayatri, and then it went back only when it came towards amazing cat. Narayani, the name?
I don't know which one it was.
Oh.
One of them is Kripa.
Let us call him Kripa. Is it a male or a lady? Lady. So Kripaji. This is Kripa was with us. Yes, she did not give up. She followed, and when the time came for her, the test to go under the cloud and become a mouse hunter, decided, no, I'm going with this japa group, and so on. it is something which I think is very, very important. Catch yourself when you come under the clouds each time. You just say, there's another way to go. I don't want to go down this spiral. I want to go above the clouds. And then you need to know what works for you. And I always think what always works is the decision to be compassionate to other people. Giriraj Maharaj wrote a wonderful Vyasa Puja offering. You find it in this book. It's also online. And he said, one of my favorite statements of you, Prabhupada, is, if you want to approach Radha and Krishna, you need the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Now, to get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, you need the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Wow, it's complicated. And to get the mercy of Lord Nityananda, you have to approach people like Jagai and Madai. If we ever feel, Giriraj Maharaj writes, oh, I'm too high, I'm too holy, I can't approach these people, we should think of that instruction and your example, Prabhupada. Prabhupada approached the fallen souls and really pray and beg to be humble instruments of your love and mercy and compassion. As your Guru Maharaj told you, that will be good for you and good for the people who hear you. So, my dear devotees, 3 things. See how you can develop your attachment to Krishna, to make it steady. Many of you are older devotees. You should not experience the roller coaster of emotions. Develop friendships with the devotees. Yes, I know some devotees are easier to make friendship with. Then go with them and just keep a respectful, kind, a respectful relationship with the other devotees so that no accidents happen in your mind. And finally, have transcendental compassion to all living beings. So do something. Even if it's cats or anything, go to the people who are around you and try to see how you can help them. Yes, not all of us are outgoing and we are a little introvert maybe and we cannot give a lecture and so on. But then we can, I don't know what an introvert will do. He has good wishes for others. If you're really introverted, good wishes, or try to do something good for others. No? And in this way. And the last thing, please come back for the next festival. We have the next festival is when? Sangamela. That for some is what? Radhastami is coming. Yes, it is also there. Latest Sangamela. Sangamela is it's in the midst of the winter. Everything is cozy, and everything is more. It's more Sangamela. Those of you who have not yet been there, it has a different flavor somehow, isn't it? It is somewhat different. Oh, this is of course. Wow, it's also one. It's really wonderful, but that is also different flavor. Hare Krishna. So I will look now secretly on the wristwatch. Oh, little over time. I will not be able to take questions. Let us end here and quickly hear Gaurahari's words. It was a genuine honor to be with you, a genuine pleasure. Please come back. And oh yeah, if those who take notes, the 3 wishes, Parikshit Maharaj talks about them in 1:19:16. I repeat, 1st canto, 19th chapter, 16th verse. Or for those who are super slow, 1, 19, 16. The second time they appear is in Shrutadev's case in 10, 41, 51. Or 10th canto, 41st chapter, verse 51. Or for those who are it's not Shrudadev. I learned it's Sudama. Sudama the florist. I made a mistake. Sudama the florist. Yes. It's in 10, 41, 51. No? And Markandeya's also come, but he is dropping compassion, transcendent compassion for all living beings. He doesn't ask for this because he's a Muni. He stays always in his cave. He is not like us. So I have not written down the reference because he's different. Different life situation. Good. So thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.